This episode of The Patch is brought to you by Hulu Plus. Watch your favorite shows anytime, anywhere with Hulu Plus. On your TV or on the go with your smartphone or tablet. Shows like Family Guy, Once Upon a Time, New Girl, Scandal, and more. Right now you can try Hulu Plus free for 2 weeks when you go to huluplus.com/patch. This episode of The Patch is sponsored by NatureBox. Order great tasting, healthy snacks right to your door. Forget the vending machine and get in shape for summer with healthy, delicious treats like everything bagel sticks. Support this podcast and get 50% off your first order. Go to naturebox.com/thepatch.
Hello, everybody.
Slow playing the intro there.
Hi, welcome to The Patch.
Gus is lagging.
Let's have fun. We're here to talk about video games. This week with Gus.
Ashley.
Ryan.
Featuring Gus. All right.
Oh, it's back.
Well, yeah, it's back. with a vengeance.
Blue team representing.
I know, yeah, we're kind of a blue silhouette to you.
Now I'm third wheel.
Speaking of things that are back, Ashley's back from E3.
Welcome back from E3. I flipped the thing.
Let me I got another one over here. I got a secret one down here
That
somewhere.
was a crazy week.
You have a secret timer?
A secret timer?
Why do you have a secret timer? All right.
Are you telling us that we're not reliable, Gus?
Gus is actually reaching to the front of the desk and flipping a second hourglass.
It's redundancy.
As far as returns go, I think
But that's
that
the
was
one that
maybe a
sucks.
little bit of a disappointment.
Give it 60 minutes; it'll be great. Yeah. So welcome back. You were at E3 doing coverage for the No.
Yeah, thanks. It was a big week, but it was really good. It was a good year for games since last year was so hardware heavy. And this year was all games, unless you were the Sony press conference and spent 45 minutes on services and apps.
Yeah, it seems like they definitely flipped strategies from last year. Xbox definitely was service and app heavy, and then this year they came out and they said, we're just going to talk about games. And I think we talked about this last week in the patch. I feel like they definitely took a lot of cues from Sony's presser last year, focusing on the indie game development and things like that.
You're totally right, and I feel like Sony took a few pointers from Microsoft's last year. They absolutely switched spots.
Which is like, why? I mean, that was the most hated on of the deliveries, was that whole like, oh, look at all our TV integration.
And with good reason, because it's a games event.
Yeah.
I do like that Sony talked about PlayStation Now. I like that it's going into open beta next month. That's awesome. Looking forward to it.
The 31st, right?
Yeah.
Was it or is it 25th?
It's
one of those.
It's a date.
It might be 21st.
Sometime in a month.
End of next month.
Yeah.
Wow, way to make my little Lenovo say it here. It's okay, little buddy.
Your little Lenovo I swear every time you put it up there, it looks like you just snap it in half. If you can't see it, if you listen to audio podcast, it's a laptop that flips all the way around. So the lid where the keyboard would be just is facing the table. Yeah, don't do that. That looks bad. It
made me nervous the first couple times I did it. I'm ashamed to admit it took me months to figure out why my laptop was called the Yoga. And then I was like, oh, it's bendy.
It's doing the down dog. I got it.
Yeah. So happy about PlayStation Now. That was exciting. I felt a little bit, I was underwhelmed by the TV stuff they're doing. They brought Brian Michael Bendis out to talk about his comic adaptation, and you go, I'm really excited. Brian Michael Bendis is coming out to talk about his adaptation because Sony is starting off their original video content programming plans with an adaptation of, I want to say, Powers, which is his comic. So he came out to talk about it, but didn't practice beforehand or wasn't using the prompter or something. So it was 10 minutes of sort of underprepared, a little bit awkward talking. He was like, here we can show some concept art. And we're like, it's from a comic. You could also, here's a thought, just
look
show
at
the comic and show like what sort of it is about, because a lot of people don't know.
Was he at least better than J.J. Abrams in the Curve show?
No, you're
the fact that you're having to think about it.
It wasn't
really
J.J.
weird.
Abrams. It was. Do you
remember the Rage Quit guy from CES?
Yeah, who just walked off stage? It was.
Was it not J.J. Abrams?
No, it was Explosions guy.
That's J.J. Abrams.
No, J.J. Abrams is Lens Flare guy.
No.
Oh.
What? Michael
Bay.
That's right.
There we
Explosions
go.
guy.
So close.
Yeah, no, totally different.
Those are interchangeable in my brain.
Explosion
apparently.
guy. We've got Lens Flare guy.
You said one of the things I was excited about that Sony talked about, which wasn't necessarily core to games, was the concept of the PlayStation TV a device you could have plugged into a TV so that you could stream games from a PS4 elsewhere in your house?
Yeah, but it needs to be on the same network to get good performance. So it's not something... The commercials they showed... So backing up a little bit, in Japan, it was announced as the PlayStation Vita TV, and they just dropped the Vita part for here because the Vita is not selling here. So that, like, just the name, I guess, could doom it potentially, or at least, in the eyes of consumers. So it's there to stream games from a PlayStation console to a TV, which is nice because you can go in another room, and if someone is using the living room, you can go in the bedroom and keep playing games without really interrupting it. But that's about it.
Yeah, but that's cool.
It
Like if you have multiple TVs in a house and you don't want to have to buy a PS4 for each of them or move your PS4 around, so you just buy this little device and
no, it's really great.
Stream stuff off of it.
The way I see it is related to the remote play they have, so you can take and you can play a PS4 game on your Vita through that. So it's that same sort of technology. Sony's actually doing a really good job of that.
And I think the other thing it did is it could stream PS3 games via the PlayStation Now service, which I confirmed does enter open beta July 31st.
Okay. 31st.
You are
good.
correct.
So, but will it only stream games? Can you not stream things like Hulu or Netflix?
I'm positive it'll have that kind of
Gavin
functionality.
just attempted his weekly attempt to hit me with something,
and now he's walking
he had
away
the
in
perfect
shame.
shot. I wasn't even paying attention, and he whiffed it.
It's like he's Spain.
I think he just hit a TV or something.
Yeah, so I'm positive it'll have that kind of functionality. I mean, my Blu-ray player has that functionality built into it, so
It
this device
would
seems
seem
a
like
little
an
smarter.
odd omission if it didn't. I mean, considering it's going now up against basically Apple TV and Amazon TV.
Oh wait, no, it does because they said they're going to. It's got to because they said they're going to include a voucher for the digital version of the Lego Movie with it.
Oh.
There you go.
So it's got to have some kind of video streaming then.
Okay.
Which is
it sounds like it mirrors the built-in capability of the Sony TVs essentially. Hopefully, all that will be just on board with any of the new. Was it Bravia series?
Yeah, they said they're launching later this year.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
I liked Sony. I thought Microsoft did really well this year. I was very excited they announced Scalebound because that's so for those who weren't paying closely attention to it. It's about having a dragon friend.
How to Train Your Dragon, the video game?
Basically, it's so it's from Platinum Games, so it's going to be. I think that's the Japanese game that they were referencing when Phil Spencer made the announcement about the release date for the Xbox One in Japan. He also was teasing a major exclusive title from a big Japanese studio, and Scalebound sort of fits all of those requirements.
Right.
So that's probably what it is, which is exciting. We don't have to wait until TGS to find out what it is.
And so you're saying it's not going to be Destiny since, did you hear Destiny is PlayStation exclusive in Japan?
Well, I did hear about that, but that's one of those things that I go, so on paper that means something, but no one buys Xbox in Japan anyway. So there's what, like 1 million Xbox 360s sold to date in Japan?
Well, the really sad thing was though that the Xbox Japan team had tweeted about Destiny
like a week before.
Yeah,
Ouch.
and apparently completely unaware that Destiny was getting the snub.
And it's
Yeah,
most
that hurts.
likely going to be
That hurts.
a timed exclusive, just because I think the Xbox One launches like 3 or 4 days before Destiny comes out in Japan. So it may be a deal where down the road later this year or next year it comes out.
And then they'll sell 5 additional units of the game.
Right.
I mean, it's one of those things that it's exclusive, but yeah, it's pretty much exclusive anyway, so it doesn't really hurt anyone, but it is like a nice little
I don't really
Sony
see
Xbox.
Destiny being maybe a big seller in Japan either. They're not huge FPS players.
probably not enormously, but I'd be interested to see how Borderlands sold there.
Yeah, I was just thinking that would be a great comparison metric for that, because it does. The more I see Destiny, the more Borderlandsy it feels. It's definitely got that sort of cell shady look, which I'm not hugely in love with, honestly, in Destiny. But
You think it has a cell shady look?
I do. I think
I
it's,
don't.
No, well, I say that because it feels like it's really colorful. It doesn't have the thick lines around everything that's very, that defines the cell, but it has the kind of lack of detail all over the middle. It's like they just have a strong color and then there's nothing there. Everything's very flat looking.
Okay.
Kind of cartoony
I respect
look.
your opinion and our
Thank
differences.
you.
Let's be civil on the internet.
Yes, we can do that.
I just thought,
No,
first on the internet.
You're both wrong, and I fucked your mothers.
No, there we go. Ashley, you're bringing it back full circle to a true internet discussion.
Someone's got to.
But yeah, there was a ton of stuff that we were excited about at E3. I don't know if you got a chance to see. I'm putting you on the spot. Did you get a chance? Did they have Cuphead at all?
They did. I didn't get to see it. The Sony booth was actually a little bit weird. They did have a lot of stations set up, but it was like an indie game per station. So there'd be, these mass huddles around these certain stations, and you're just not getting into them.
Just point of clarity. I'm sure you made a slip up. I think Cuphead was Xbox One.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It was honestly they both had that, but wait.
I had a slip up last week.
Oh no.
That people jumped all over me for.
What'd you say?
I said that in Bayonetta 2 that there are 3 costumes. I don't remember them now. It was
right.
Princess Peach,
Metroid,
someone, and Metroid.
Didn't remember Samus.
I know it's Samus. I just said Metroid because I was thinking of Metroid when I saw the costume.
Can I tell you why I just assumed the Cuphead was on PS4? Because Sony's done a much better job of marketing their indie games.
Oh, well.
And so now I'm like, oh yeah, that indie game. It's probably PS4.
Probably. Well, it was interesting.
Although Xbox did a good job, like this time. But just like throughout so far the marketing campaign of the platforms themselves, I just associate it with Sony.
That reminds me, talking about indie games and Sony, the senior programmer over at Supergiant Games left to go work at Oculus.
Why does everybody keep doing that?
No.
And Supergiant, of course, is the indie studio that made Bastion and most recently Transistor, which just came out a couple of weeks ago.
Hence the no, because I was looking forward to see what they do next.
Yeah. And he's moving on and joining Oculus to make stuff that I'm gonna hate.
I think someone from Respawn maybe just joined Oculus too.
Really?
Yeah.
They're on a hiring tear.
Well, they can afford it now. They're
getting sued into the
They have a lot of
Age.
dollars.
They do. Everybody keeps trying to take all their dollars. People are coming out of the woodwork to take all their dollars because apparently anyone that's worked on a VR product in the past decade somehow owns part of their technology now.
Let's see. I'm taking a look here. So I guess other high-profile video game people who have gone over recently is some Valve employees: Jason Holtman, Tom Forsyth, Steve Lavelle, Atman Binstock, and Michael Abrash. All of these are reported from Joystick.
That sounds really dangerous. I mean, Oculus is in enough trouble already with intellectual property theft. And then Valve has been working on a VR solution that they've even kind of showed off a little bit finally. Yeah. That seems like just another lawsuit waiting to happen. Do
you think Valve would go after them? I know it's intellectual property and business, which is a big deal, but it seems kind of against the Valve philosophy to chase someone like that.
I think it depends largely on if Valve really wants to go ahead with it as a product. If they don't really care, then maybe they won't. Yeah. And if they think that those people might have something that they took from Valve, it's one of those weird things. It's like, it's like with Mighty Number 9. So it's the guy that created Mega Man who's now gone on and he's making this game Mighty Number 9, which is very Mega Man-esque. Well, he's the guy that made Mega Man, so how do you say where the line is between what's intellectual property and it's like, well, that's just that guy. Like, that's his thing.
Right.
I would say that part of the difference is that people don't feel like Mega Man has been really utilized recently.
That is true.
Whereas Valve is actively working on VR technology.
But Capcom could easily probably go after him for that.
Not if they get sold.
Which is
that is true.
A big rumor going around at the moment.
Yeah, so they have basically announced that they're now they've changed their systems or the requirements or whatever, so they're now open to acquisition. They're open to being acquired, that is. So
is that like putting a dating profile up or what?
It's like you click thumbs up on LinkedIn and next thing you know you're buying a video game company.
Yeah, so I have no idea like who would buy them or if that's necessarily on the table. It's mostly just that, like, they've changed the way their business is set up because previously they set everything up to specifically prevent a hostile takeover. I think via the way their stock works, and now they've changed it so that they can be bought.
So they're flirting with hostile takeover.
They drop their pants.
They're just batting their lashes a little bit.
It's like the Peacock. They're putting the Peacock in now. So release that Dead Rising DLC, with all the arcade action, super hyper mega.
That's true.
Alpha
for the 31st anniversary,
right?
Which I like saying.
See, there you
go. So we're talking about. I'm gonna pivot here a little. We were talking about Valve a little while ago. I don't know. Did you guys get a chance to watch that short film they put out yesterday?
Yes, I did.
The Expiration Date, which was really cool. It was like a 15-minute short film that I guess they made using Source Filmmaker. which told a story using the Team Fortress 2 characters, which was really, really well done. I thought it was really, really cool. Normally, when I first loaded it, you can see the progress bar in the video. I was like, 15 minutes. It's going to be forever. No, it was
went
really
fast.
cool.
Yeah. Actually, Source Film. I don't know why I can't talk today. Source Film.
you still fucked it up. I'll say it to you. Source Filmmaker.
That is one of those things I keep forgetting about until they do something like that. I wonder if they do that just so you go,
which is what I think they did. Like when I watched that video, the whole time I was thinking, wow, why would they make this? At the end, you see the SFM logo, you're like, to get people excited about Source Filmmaker again, which is a phenomenal program. Really intimidating. There's so many options and things to do in there.
There were a lot of people using it. I mean, there was a lot of YouTube videos that came out of that, and then I haven't seen much. And it could be that it's just people have gotten so good at using it that I don't recognize immediately when it's Source Filmmaker. But hey, I said it.
You got it. Yay!
But
you win a Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I do? No, I don't want one though.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I keep the Mountain Dew.
You're gonna inflict a Mountain Dew on me. But I mean, it just kind of goes quiet. It sort of goes dormant. I don't know that anybody's really done anything really impressive with it yet.
Yeah.
Well, Valve just did.
But
community-wise, you're
Valve.
right.
But I'm sure all of their Meet the series for Team Fortress 2 were also probably made internally using similar tools.
Yeah, I believe they were.
So I mean, that they've already been for years, doing great things with it. Other Valve news. A lot of Valve stuff this week.
Tell us more, Gus.
So I guess this is slightly Valve news. I guess Alienware is still planning to launch their Steam machine this year with no Steam OS and no Steam controller.
Right.
So now it's just a living room PC, and it's exactly the same as every other living room PC. Congratulations.
$550, and it's Steam ready.
They're also sending it with the Xbox 360 controller instead of the Xbox One, which I think is kind of odd too.
Yeah, well, they only just released the Xbox One drivers, and they're still... they're only kind of supported. They are there, but they're not widely distributed yet.
Steam OS isn't even out, and they're releasing a Steam machine. So I don't think they have any problems with that.
You raise an excellent point.
So I actually dug up some of the specs here from a Polygon article about it. They're calling it the Alienware Alpha. I guess this base model, which is 550, has a custom NVIDIA chipset GPU. Oh, look, they have it up here. It's got 2 gigs of video RAM. It's got an i3 processor, 4 gigs of 1600 megahertz DDR3 RAM, 802.11ac Wi-Fi, and gigabit Ethernet.
That's pretty weak offering, honestly.
Yeah, I was a little off-put by the i3 processor. But, I mean, they are going to have other options. That's the whole point, I guess.
I don't know. The fact that they're able to just go, we'll just put Windows on it, whatever, release it anyway, kind of undermines what Valve's been trying to do with the entire Steam machine anyway, by just reminding us that they're PCs. They're just PCs.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that being said, they're definitely pushing the idea of it being a set-top box by offering, sending it out with a controller. So that puts you in the mindset that this is something to put in your living room rather than just another computer in your house. And it's a smaller form factor. So I guess they're kind of hitting on that. It's $550, I think.
Yeah, what's the starting price?
So it's, top of the range for any kind of console right now, especially now that Xbox One has come down to $399 if you dump the Kinect. So it's still evocative of a console box.
Right.
No?
Do I look convinced, Ryan?
I love that Ryan's the one trying to do the convincing here.
I know, and I hate the thing.
I know, this is so weird to me. I'm just sitting back like, wow, I'm not the one doing it for
We appreciate you playing
once.
devil's advocate because I don't think at this point any of us were, neither of us were going to argue for it.
I'm interested. I'm still interested.
People say I'm very negative. I'm trying to be positive.
Let's talk about Nintendo then.
Oh.
Well, let me read this first.
Well, that was short-lived.
Let me read this right here. I want to remind everyone this episode of The Patch is brought to you by Hulu Plus. You've probably tried Hulu on your computer. Hulu Plus is so much more. With Hulu Plus, you can watch current season episodes of your favorite shows like Modern Family, The Daily Show, and Scandal. Watch every episode of shows like Nashville, Lost, and Doctor Who. You get ad-free movies and kids shows too. Now more than ever, there's so much to watch. Take total control with Hulu Plus to stream these shows and thousands more as much as you want, whenever you want. Hulu Plus works on your computer, smart TV, Roku, Apple TV, Xbox, PlayStation, pretty much any streaming device you already own. You can even watch on your phone or iPad while on the train, at work, at the dentist, or in the bathroom. You can even block off a whole day to binge. You'll get access to originals you can't get anywhere else. Check out their new show, Deadbeat, a comedy about a pot-smoking guy who talks to ghosts. Binge on all 10 episodes now. For only $7.99 a month, you get shows anytime, anywhere. It's like a quarter a day. Right now, sign up at huluplus.com/thepatch. I'm sorry, huluplus.com/patch. Get 2 weeks, full access, completely free. It's a whole extra week more with this special offer when you sign up at huluplus.com/patch. Get with it. Start streaming TV now with Hulu Plus. Thank you so much to Hulu Plus for sponsoring The Patch. I don't want to talk about Nintendo.
There was a really interesting infographic, though, that came up. I mean, just as the general spread of all of them, that it broke down like who talked about games in 2014.
Yeah, those were interesting.
Those were. And the odd thing, too, was, well, aside from Nintendo being 100% first-party developer, and then it was 12 games for Nintendo versus like 49, I want to say, for Microsoft, and then Sony was somewhere in the same range. I think the other interesting thing that came out of that was it looked like Sony was a little bit heavier on it was actually more than 50% 2015 titles.
Right.
And was actually heavier on the first-person shooters, which I would normally not associate with Sony.
It was close. I think Sony was 50% first-person shooter, but I think Microsoft was like 45%.
Microsoft was less than 50, and Sony was about dead on 50, I think.
But I'm okay with E3 discussions and E3 presentations being about 2015 games. Honestly, I would not expect, big announcements out of 2014 games at a show like E3. E3 is where you go to show off the cool shit you're working on that's going to come out later. You already have marketing budgets and everything allocated for 2014 at this point. At 2014, at E3, it should just be like, hey, remember that cool thing from last time? It's coming out finally.
Yeah, the rhythm does seem to be announce at E3, the next year you bring it back with gameplay, and then release that holiday. Or, thereabouts. It's very much like announce one year, actually show it the next year, and then you're ready to go. Which
is kind of a segue into something else I really want to talk about this week, which was Watchdogs graphics performance on the PC. I don't know if you've been keeping up with this thread.
The guy that dug out the really heavier graphic stuff that was actually buried in the engine?
Yes.
Well, okay, and when that came up, though,
So let's give a little bit of background, I guess, for people who maybe aren't familiar with the story. So you remember when Watchdogs was first shown at E3 back in 2012?
It looked amazing.
Everyone thought it looked amazing. There were so many great graphical flourishes. Everyone was just like, their jaws were on the floor. And then when the game came out, people noticed that some of like the dynamic shadows weren't there, and the game didn't look as polished. So I guess someone who's typically a video game modder went through the game files and discovered that all of those high-res textures and effects were still there. They just had to be enabled. And he created a mod for the PC version of the game that basically re-enabled everything.
Well, and it started even before that. So earlier, like right at the beginning of this month, someone found a whole bunch of settings that aren't included. They're not in the menu options that Ubisoft provides. But by editing this XML file, he was able to change a lot of the settings that he couldn't touch otherwise, and it made the game unstable, but it otherwise bumped up the graphics, so they approached that level again. But now this guy, I want to say he goes by the worse, even though he makes things better. He found there were actual E3 specific settings for and graphics and shaders that were still in the code that they'd put in, and then for whatever reason, like pulled out, scrapped again, but they were still in there. They were just hidden and not used.
He found the E3 goggles. He actually found them.
They actually, like, in the comments, they actually have, like, something E3. So, I mean, I'm interested in knowing why they pulled it out. The fact that the XML scripting caused some instability could maybe indicate that they were, like, for that demo, they sacrificed stability in favor of looking really good, but when it came time to release, they couldn't do that. I don't know. Yeah. But it's weird that they're in there, that the PC version is capable of all those things because we've now seen them.
Right.
But
so the engine can do all those things then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all in there.
That was really what I was going to say, is a lot of these games are built off engines, and then the engine is something that they can then license or reuse. And so every game may not use everything that the engine itself is capable of. And in this case, it sounds like they weren't able to get it working at a level that they were happy with using all those features. So they just cut them off, which in some ways is a more responsible thing to do than just trying to push them out there and knowing that it's going to cause problems. That being said, if you've already kind of promised that it's going to look one way, and then, well, I mean, who really expects it to look like it looks in the E3 demo anymore?
It's like watching an ad for fast food.
Yes.
You know exactly. The burger looks great. on the commercial, but you know you're not going to get that burger when you go to the McDonald's. Your Big Mac's not going to look like the commercial. It's going to be squashed.
But with games, that's absolutely expected.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Games, like, it's like if you have a trailer where half the scenes are removed from the movie. It's just, you just go, that's not what I bought. That's not what I was sold. You get used to it with fast food. I guess but at the same time, fast food costs $1, $2. It doesn't cost $60.
I guess. I don't know. It's I mean, I feel like that's something that continually happens in the game industry, and I mean, I think in order to skirt around that, a lot of times, game companies put out those purely animated trailers with no like in-game footage, like all pre-rendered CG stuff, and I would prefer they continue to do in-engine stuff. And
yes and no. At least when I'm watching a CGI trailer, I don't believe that that's the game I'm going to be playing. If I watch a gameplay trailer, that is what I expect to be playing. I even get a little bit weirded out when they have gameplay trailers where the camera is clearly not attached to where you'd be playing it from.
Right.
They're like, oh, it's gameplay, and I'm like, no, it's in engine.
This isn't player perspective, so you're not really on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think we can agree. Agreed. Patch certified.
Still fucked your mother.
Damn, I was hoping to slip one by you.
There was actually, I wonder kind of on this
I've been
vein.
busy.
She has. Welcome back, Ashley. It's so nice to see you again.
Oh, Mom.
You're gonna be an angry call later.
Yeah,
today.
no kidding.
Why did she tell everyone? I mean, there's some talk recently about, so now that they've removed the Kinect from their production model of Xbox One, like what the overhead that would be returned to the system if you didn't enable Kinect features was. And it was, I believe, 10% of the GPU was being used constantly just to run the Kinect.
Right. It wasn't necessarily used constantly. It was just reserved in case it was it was actually needed.
I think this was kind of outed by Destiny, right? Who said that they could get it to run 1080 60 if you just cut off the Kinect functionality.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
I believe so, yeah. Or it was either 60 or 30. I think it may have been 1080 30.
I think 30 is what they've been locked on.
So with the additional 10%, where does that put it in comparison to the PS4? Because one of the things that everyone always goes on about is the PS4 is just in terms of raw power better.
It probably closes the gap a little bit, but I think the PS4 still has a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but I really wonder, like I've been thinking about that a lot since the consoles came out, and I really wonder how important a lot of that is. I think a lot of what's more important is, ease of development, because I think back to the last generation, whereas the 360 and the PS3 clearly had way more horsepower and blew the 360 out of the water, but lots of games that are multi-platform were developed initially on the 360 because it was an easier platform to develop on. So the PS3 never got to fully utilize that extra horsepower because no one had those flourishes in because it wasn't the primary console developed for. Now, I don't develop, so I'm purely speculating here. I've heard that the PS4 is a lot easier to develop for. So if they can just switch, the development base over there, maybe we'll see a lot more flourishes, a lot prettier games. Just my thought.
It's a good thought.
Yeah, I actually, I don't know
Good
why
thinking.
It took me so long to think about it. I was just thinking about this last week, I think, probably during E3. Did you see, I don't know if anybody else remembers this game. Do you remember the game Another World? That's coming out next week on the PS4.
Well, it wasn't Another World, right? It was
Out of This World. Depending on where you were.
Yeah.
I think Another World was the European name.
Was it?
Out of This World was the North American name. Let me look it up here. So yeah, what's funny is, and this looks like this is the iOS port, or this is the mobile port because they've got the touchscreen controls. So it's a game that came out like 25 years ago, and yeah, it came out in '91.
Yeah, what's wonderful about that is I remember that game because my computer couldn't play it. That was what my hardware wasn't capable of doing in whenever year that was.
So it's in '91. It's coming out on,
to be fair, the computer was
PS4.
mostly sticks and rocks at that point anyway, so...
Well, the crazy thing is, I look at that and I think back to '91 when I was playing games, and it makes me think that that's how I always pictured virtual reality, because that's what VR looked like back in the early '90s. Was like people were just beginning to figure out these flat polygons.
I just remember red wireframes.
Yeah, that's because you're the
Virtual
Nintendo.
Boy.
That's Virtual Boy. Yeah.
Did you actually own one?
My little brother had one.
Did he?
Yeah, he also got a Game Boy. He's an asshole.
So you got nothing?
No, I ended up stealing a PC and turning it into like my gaming rig.
Oh, I'm proud of you.
It was a 486.
That was a better choice,
I had
especially versus the Virtual Boy.
I had a.
Didn't that like melt your eyeball if you looked at it for longer than
Some
20
people
minutes?
got headaches.
Yeah.
I never played it long enough too because I think all we had was tennis.
I mean, it was
I think
basically
that's
like
pretty much it.
It was like a microwave, right? I mean, that's just infrared bombarding your face.
It's funny that auction for the biggest game collection in the world that just sold for like $750,000 had the entire collection of Virtual Boy games.
It was only like 13, wasn't it?
It was. Meg, do you remember?
It's super small. It's like 12 or 13.
12 or
12 or
13.
13.
I wondered about that too, because that guy had the Guinness record for the largest collection. So now he sold it. Does he have to give him the record too?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I guess the other person just has to go and buy one more game and then go, now I have it.
That's a good point.
Well, can you?
What
What game can you buy? Like, he just has to wait till next Tuesday and like buy one more. Do you think? Do you think that's like the one person in the world who hates digital downloads for games? He's like, fuck. How do you prove I own all the games?
you got
now?
all the
That is a
games.
difficult thing for collectors.
Maybe you print out receipts for every game.
Well, you got a
buy.
shelf, and then you just have like the Xbox sitting there. It's like, they're on there. You got to boot it up, but they're there. I promise.
Yeah. Or you pray that it doesn't red ring or it doesn't have hardware failure because then you had to go back and rebuy all of that stuff. But yeah, I think that auction just ended a couple days ago. I think on Sunday the other day.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to go for that much. The collection is valued between $700,000 and $8,000, but I was like, all right, so we'll get a couple $100,000, but like those never get like the full valuation. And then I saw what it sold for, and I went,
I think it had.
so you could just go buy all those games then.
Yeah, but it's easy. You just go. You pay one person instead of paying a bunch of people.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's about saving
And then
time.
you get to say, I am the master collector. And you can dance on everybody else.
I don't think dancing rights come with the
No?
certificate.
I also kind of imagined that he would ceremoniously slay the previous owner and take his Guinness record and mount it on his wall.
I
Well,
thought you say take his skin and wear it.
Well, you really took this to a dark place.
Yeah, I did.
Man,
says Ryan.
I know. You're really down there.
So I also noticed this week that Twitch announced that they had 12 million viewers for their E3 streams, which is pretty
I believe it.
huge.
Yeah, they were the official partner this year, and I think they're the official streaming partner next year and the year after as well. I think it was a 3-year deal. Could be wrong there. It was weird though. Their booth was kind of off in the corner. Like you would, if you didn't have the map saying this is where Twitch is, you would never see it. There's 2K, then there's the Konami booth, and the Konami booth is built sort of at an angle, so it has these big walls, and it looked like it was sort of just facing that corner, like facing away from that corner. And then behind the walls, there was Twitch.
Well, that's where you put the camera, right? Over in the corner.
We've
I mean,
all
there
been
should just be cameras pointing at every other booth. That's the Twitch booth.
Yes, it was a little bit weird. Like I never actually made it all the way over there because you would like once you pass Konami, there was no traffic.
We've all been there. I know Rooster Teeth has had to set up booths like that at shows before, where we set up our booth and then. One year in particular, I know we were at Fan Expo in Canada. Sony just set up a giant wall in front of our booth and did the same thing, where it's like they encapsulate and point everything around, like, hey, who's around here, we're over here, guys. But Twitch is also partnering to live stream RTX. They're our official streaming
that's
partner.
great.
So yeah, we'll be streaming
Do they have a
all of
booth
RTX
in the corner?
at Twitch.
We can put them in the corner so they feel at home.
There we go.
Yeah, and I guess since we're talking about RTX, I should mention also that we're doing our patch panel there, which will be streamed via Twitch. So if you want, you'll be able to watch that. I'm pulling up the details right here. It's going to be...
Wait, you don't know them off the top of your head?
No.
This is all you, man.
Friday at 4:30 p.m.
All right.
If you're there
can do
physically,
that.
it'll be in
Yeah.
room 18. If you're there virtually, you can stream it on Twitch. And
Very cool.
the stream will, of course, be open to everyone, so not just sponsors on our website. So anybody can watch that. Let's see what we got. So, weird news this week. We joked previously about Candy Crush making their, or I guess King Entertainment making a trademark for Candy and Crush and like all this,
Saga.
Yeah.
all this cross licensing stuff. I guess Skylanders is expanding their licensing business.
Please don't tell me that you're trying to write Sky. Please.
No,
Please
no.
Tell me no.
They're just expanding to make breakfast cereal and other snacks now. Let me look at the full list of who
Well,
they're...
they're aimed at kids, so that actually makes a lot of sense.
Not the real deal.
Are those? Is that a bowl of chips?
Yeah, it
It looks really good.
They just stole Doritos.
I think this is a fabrication that we created in the control room, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. So, yeah,
It
yeah.
looks.
Skylanders one of those.
It looks really good. Control room.
It's the thing
P.S.
where
please
you've got
bring
a physical
chips.
thing, right, that connects to digital, right? So can you just take like a handful of cereal and just cram it in the port now, or what? How
Sure.
is this supposed to work?
Sure. So I guess.
Oh, did they come in the cereal box? Is that how it works?
Of course. I would imagine that's what they're going to do. But they're
that's
partnering
brilliant.
with General Mills, Crayola, and IDW. I don't know who IDW is.
Do you still have to like collect box tops and send things in if you want the special prizes?
I don't think they really have prizes in cereal anymore.
No, well, not in the cereal, but there used to be like the really good prize. You had to collect the box tops and then mail them in.
That's how I got my copy of Q*bert for the 2600.
There you go.
How did that go for you? Was that
I
worth
still
it?
have it.
It's a good value.
I collected.
Yeah.
I ate the shit out of Captain Crunch for months to get Q*bert on the Atari 2600.
Did you tear up the roof of your mouth?
It's never been the same. But yeah,
It's just a wasteland in there now.
I have Q*bert, and God, I remember. God, this is really gonna date me. The best was when you could cut out the back of the cereal box, and it was a record, and you could put it on the record player and listen to music.
What?
See, the problem that I always had with stuff on the back of cereal boxes that required cutting out is I would not wait until the cereal was gone before cutting it out. So to have a box of cereal and then
Like the bag would just be falling out of it.
yeah, and you inevitably
Nice.
lose a couple bits of cereal out of the bag whenever you pour it, and so then they just randomly come popping out of the hole in the bottom of the box.
I feel you. I'm an old hand at collecting cereal stuff.
Now I want to go play some Super Nintendo games.
You remember Super Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda cereal?
Yes.
There was like two cereals in the same box. It was like two different bags. One side was the Super Mario Brothers cereal, and the other side was the Legend of Zelda cereal.
Which was better?
It was pretty much the same thing.
Pure sugar, man. What do you want?
Fair enough. Mushrooms.
I was hoping actually that
marshmallows.
I was hoping actually that when Nintendo announced they were going to be expanding their licensing stuff, they'd do like more of the breakfast cereals and that just
You
just
longing for the
fun.
return?
Why not?
It makes me also think like there were crazy cereals back then. Like there was also around that same time the C3PO cereal, which I never understood. That was so weird. I think that was just Captain Crunch. That was just relabeled as something else.
Crunchy and gold. Yeah, it's a good fit.
IDW is a comics publisher, by the way.
That's why I didn't know.
Thank you, Twitter. Thank you to Maria Ayala and Jake.
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 Is that his Twitter handle?
And Maru Yasha. No, it's his
Okay.
nice
Okay.
Twitter name.
Here, let me read this
His
thing
human
here.
name.
Okay. I want to remind everyone this episode of The Patch is also brought to you by NatureBox. Your mission, snack smarter to get in shape by summer. Your enemy, the vending machine. But when you're starving at 3 p.m., all cranky and lightheaded, the evil vending machine can seem like your only friend. Don't give in. Head over to naturebox.com. NatureBox sends great tasting snacks right to your door, and they're great for you too. We're talking healthy snacks like barbecue kettle kernels, everything bagel sticks, they're down there. South Pacific plantain chips, and over 100 more. I thought you were looking for them. Zero trans fats, zero high fructose corn syrup, nothing artificial. Even snacks that are gluten conscious and non-GMO. With free shipping anywhere in the U.S., NatureBox is busting up the vending machine's monopoly on your midday hunger. Try NatureBox right now and get 50% off your first box by going to naturebox.com/thepatch. That's naturebox.com/thepatch. Stay full, stay strong. Go to naturebox.com/thepatch. That's naturebox.com/thepatch.
On a side note, the bruschetta pretzel pops know how to twerk it.
Is that on the bag?
No,
Yeah.
that's her analysis.
They are really good.
So you might be particularly proud of this.
Sorry, I'm still picturing a pretzel pop twerking somehow.
You just saw it. The newest GTA Online update,
Yes.
the I'm not a hipster update, includes the Team Gents shirt.
It does. They call it the gentleman shirt, I believe. But it's very reminiscent of our Team Gents shirt.
I love it.
The hat's a little bigger in theirs,
And the mustache is a little smaller.
but
It's hard to really capture the majesty of Jeff's mustache.
It really is.
But yeah, no, that was great. It's always really cool whenever we discover some shout out to us in something.
Are the lads upset? Are they sad?
The lads were very upset, and who cares?
they haven't earned it yet. They're still young. They got their time.
That's right.
It was a bit of a funny thing, though, that they did that yesterday, dropped that update, and then today went, by the way, heists aren't coming yet.
Yeah, we're sorry.
Yeah,
Still coming.
it's funny. They actually made that announcement. They didn't give it their own its own post on Newswire. It was posted as a comment, like by them, in response to yesterday's update. Like they were hoping that people wouldn't notice.
Maybe
like
just
one
kinda
of the
slide.
biggest games was going to be like with one of the most anticipated features that was supposed to be here in the next like 3 or 4 days. Was
Not
they
going to
just,
make
like,
it.
Yeah.
no one will notice. It's fine.
It was their last shot to. I think at some point though, the whole notion that it was going to be out in spring was floated. I don't know if they officially said that.
Yeah,
that
they
was
did.
what
They did.
They did. Okay.
They did. I went back over the quote. It said, coming this spring. Then I went and looked up how long spring goes.
I did
Goes
that.
till Friday.
I did too. Yeah. It's like,
So
Technicality, we'll
did
get
not
them
know
on
the
it.
day.
do you think at this point then they're just going to sit on it until GTA 5 launches on next gen on consoles? Like once they release the Xbox One and PS4, we'll just be like, oh yeah, great, here they are.
Well, so here's the weird thing about that, right? Is GTA 5 they announced at E3 that you'll be able to take your multiplayer progress from either PS3 or 360 and move it to either PS4 or Xbox One when it comes out, regardless of platform. So this is maybe the first time you can actually take your multiplayer progress across ecosystems. That's kind of a big deal.
Good point.
But they've messed up quite a bit on the multiplayer. I think there's a lot of things that just aren't in it, like I don't know, heists maybe. I hear a thing or two about those. And the
Around the water cooler,
interest
as it
seems
were.
to have dropped off quite a lot in actually playing it. People still like watching it, but playing it maybe not so much. I don't know. Are people gonna care enough to like buy the new version if they already have this version? Because most of the people who own the next gen consoles now are early adopters, and they already have the current gen consoles, so they're gonna have GTA for the wait, I just said current gen and current gen. It's getting confusing. Next gen, current gen, they'll already have it. Is it worth upgrading?
I think there'll be a good enough amount, and I think the relaunch on the Xbox One and the PS4 could serve as a good springboard to revitalize online play. Like it'll get people back in and interested in the game again and playing it. And I think, if they have heists and all of this stuff in there, people who played online initially and then gave up because the features weren't in there will buy the new version because everything's prettier and it's all actually implemented and functioning.
All the people that would, there's a large segment of gamers out there that'll buy a game, play it for as much as they want, and then they get rid of it. So any of those people you might get back at that point with reinvesting in the series. Honestly, I think the PC is going to be where most of the next batch of sales are going to be, just because.
Yeah, because that's completely new.
It's the same game, but it's still moddable, which is what has carried GTA 4 for so long. I mean, the lifespan on GTA 4, it feels like a lot longer than Red Dead, which never made it to PC.
Right. Yeah.
So I think PC is going to do well for GTA if the mod community embraces it.
I'm sure
if
they
it turns
will.
out it's difficult to mod, then it's.
I'm sure that based on how moddable and how much legs GTA 4 got out of it, I'm sure GTA 5
Well,
will
I guess
also
to be fair, they're already modding it now on PS3. There's a bunch of different mods out there for that, which is kind of weird. But
Is that the one that had the monsoon mod, or was that for GTA 4?
you mean the one where the whole city's underwater?
Yeah.
That was in GTA 4.
Okay, GTA 4.
Yeah. No, there've been like playable jumbo jets on PS3. There's been I think there's
Wait,
a
playable
UFO.
jumbo jets, like you play as a jumbo jet?
You can get in the it's the life of the jumbo jet. You get refueled, you take on passengers, then you fly
Get hijacked on occasion?
occasionally, just to spice it up a little. But no, it's you can just you can fly around in one. You can't get one normally in multiplayer, but they'll do sales. People buy it.
I think so.
People always buy it.
I'm
Keeping
excited
in
for
mind
the
as
new
well
version.
that when I'm like, no one's going to get this. What I really mean is only a couple million people are going to get this.
Right.
Because like GTA doesn't exist on the same scale as other games, and so no one is still like several million.
a huge amount.
Yeah.
So you talked about how some people will buy games and then trade them in when they're done playing them. It goes back to that thing we talked about a long time ago, where there was that study about how there are teenagers who use consoles like a form of currency, where they'll get a console, they'll play with it, then when they need money, they'll like pawn it or sell it, and then get money, and then they'll save up money, buy a console again, use. And it's like this weird cycle where it's like, when you're for teenagers, it's like a liquid asset. They can convert to cash.
When I
and
think of
then-
how much money you can get out of a console, though, when you sell it and then have to buy it again, that seems like
Look,
Look,
people
they're-
in that
they're-
situation, they're not worried about the turnover amount, right? They're just like, oh, I need $20 for weed. All right.
I don't know.
What are you going to do? You can't play video games.
That just seems like get your priorities in order.
Yeah.
You don't need.
They
you don't-
are teenagers.
you
They're not
don't
making
need-
the best
You don't need the
decisions,
food. Just do what we all did and eat top ramen for a month solid, and you'll be fine.
Top ramen.
Yeah, extra good if you put a hard boiled egg in it.
Really?
If you can afford eggs.
Hard boiled.
Jesus.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Living on the fancy side of the
I'm
tracks
just
over
saying.
here.
I'm just saying. If you want to take your ramen up a notch,
Seriously. If you want to be serious about your ramen, right?
right? Yeah. I
okay.
mean, this is for ramen connoisseurs only.
Add a little bit
Commit.
of protein. Really.
There you go.
Really gets your meal.
And you already got all the salt you could need for the rest of your life in one bowl, so
Just
Well,
for the week.
You don't want to get dehydrated. This will help you to retain that water that you really need.
that's a good point.
It is truly
I think
all in one bowl.
We need to get a ramen sponsor immediately.
Let's get on that. No, let's not. So did you see the rumor that the Steam Summer Sale may be starting later this week?
I've seen the rumor. I hope it's true.
So there are wallets crying out in pain.
Well, that's the thing. They don't weep very heavily, though, because you can get so much for so little.
So do you remember when did the Steam Summer Sale kick off last year?
I have no recollection. Also, I don't know
I
what we're
can't pay
watching here on
attention
the
to what we're
screen.
talking about because what we're watching is too fantastic.
It's a
Lord of the Rings as Steam sale.
That was phenomenal. Thank you, whoever found that or whoever made that. That was
You just
fucking
won the
amazing.
link dump.
Yeah, we're definitely putting that in the list of links. That way you can find that.
The patch notes.
patch
Sorry.
notes.
So strategy. We need to
Strategy.
strategize for the Steam sales. All right. So don't buy the things that are on a day sale. Wait until they hit a flash sale. Is that what we do?
That's a good strategy. Also, now with the being able to trade games, if you've got friends, you can divvy it up, and some of you get some games, and some of you get other games.
Now, when you do that, do you have to like buy as you buy it as a gift, or can you change that later on as long as you haven't activated it?
You can buy it as a gift if you want. If you buy it as a gift, it just goes into your inventory, and you can then send it to somebody. But if you want to do like the share thing, then you buy it for yourself, and then you have to log in on their machine and authorize it.
Can I tell you something that's a bit funny?
What's that?
A little bit creepy. The other day, I was working on my laptop. I was editing something, and suddenly I was like, "Oh, I see Bernie's using his PC now," and I know he's just turned it on because I now can stream Steam games from his computer. And then I thought, "Yeah, this is weird."
Yeah.
Like that's just like maybe it's a little bit too far.
It's Big Brother Steam. You
Yeah.
know, moving in on your computer.
Yeah, because he'd been using my computer while we were in LA. Because it's just this enormous black razor blade that he can use for gaming and I can use for editing. So we were sharing it. He was logged into his account, and then I could see when he got to work and turn on his PC. And I went,
And the streaming is actually different from the sharing too. Like there's two different things.
Yeah.
yes, that's true. In fact, I went to a game, and his son JD was currently using the library. So that was that was all wrapped up in one example.
So
of
you went and flipped the breaker
Steam
on JD's
interconnectivity.
room so that you could get it, and then
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm an adult.
Yeah, take your
Right,
lumps, kid.
yeah.
So according to Eric Anderson 14 on Twitter, the Steam summer sale started mid-July last year.
Okay.
So we're a little early, so it may not be starting just yet.
I always wonder how that
Technically,
rumor starts.
Summer doesn't start till Friday,
Right.
right? Yeah, we just talked about that earlier.
I wonder how those rumors start. Someone's just like, it'd be awesome if Steam sale started
Okay,
this week.
I have the source of the rumor here.
Okay. Out them.
So this is an article from Joystick. It says, "Does the Steam summer
See,
over.
it's infected you.
Does the Steam summer sale begin on Thursday? Payment processor PaySafeCard seems to think so, stating in Portuguese, Valve's annual batch of summer savings runs from the 19th to the 30th of June. Furthermore, at SteamDB notes the newest Steam week-long deal ends on Thursday, June 19th, rather than the end of the week as usual." So I guess it's those two bits of information together make people think that something's a little fishy.
Fishy, eh?
So we'll see. I mean, it is weird that they're ending their week sale earlier than normal. But I guess technically summer does start on Friday, so maybe they're just going to try to capitalize on as much of summer as possible this time.
Possibly.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got to keep people from going out in the sun. Really, they're just doing a public service kind of thing.
Ooh.
It's, you can get skin cancer out there. It's dangerous. You should just stay in and play games all day.
So we have some breaking news
Ooh.
from our sleuth, Bernie Burns, who says that Reddit just announced they're obfuscating downvotes site-wide.
Really? We already do that on the Rooster Teeth subreddit.
We don't do that.
Okay, sorry.
We
We
don't
don't control
manage
the
it.
Rooster Teeth subreddit. Forgive me.
Late breaking gaming news there. Thanks, Bernie Burns.
Yeah, he's
Tech.
right there, by the way.
We bleed over into tech.
So
I gotta give him some
you
shit.
just will no longer be able to see them. They'll still do their job, I imagine.
Just says obfuscating. If you have Reddit enhancement suite, you can still keyboard through all that shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's,
Okay.
That's what I do. Just Z.
Bernie's
Z.
shaking his head.
it's-
He's saying no.
No?
They're doing a percentage of how many people liked it.
He's saying percentage of people liked it is how it's going to take over now.
Yeah. That's kind of Facebook syndrome, though, isn't it?
Is it? What did Facebook do?
Well, they just have likes. They have no dislikes.
They don't show you when people don't like you. They only show you when people like you.
Oh, that's
It's
so
a
happy.
positive reinforcement.
So the worst message you can get is no message at all.
Yes.
Like just I don't pay attention to
But
you.
that's a good message for me. When my phone
Is it?
doesn't ring, I'm like, yeah,
All right.
everything's perfect.
No
when
one
my,
cares.
When my desk phone rings, I stare at it and I scowl like, that's not good.
Someone on Twitter is also saying that, hey, taking Reddit, tying it in with Steam. A Reddit post showed the big picture mode had a background stating the sale starts the 19th to the 30th of June. Thank you, Michael Castle.
So it's got to be the worst thing in the world to just be a web designer these days, because if you try and preload
Everything is
assets
leaking through that
anywhere,
stuff.
yeah, there's someone is always watching for everything you upload to a server.
And this is the internet now, so you can take it down within 30 seconds. Doesn't matter. Someone took a screenshot.
Yep, it's
was that?
done. It's the monkeys, right? I mean, just enough people thrown at a problem, and they will find everything.
But didn't they also throw a whole bunch of monkeys at typewriters and they just pooped on them?
Well,
Well, that's like
but
the YouTube comments or like internet comments.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or
it depends on
Reddit
how you feel
downvotes,
about
apparently.
Shakespeare. Some people would argue that they succeeded, but yeah, I mean, it's what?
You think that
Noises?
Shakespeare was monkeys?
No, I don't poop. I like
think
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare was poop?
I like Shakespeare. A lot of people don't like Shakespeare.
Nobody doesn't like Shakespeare.
No, there's a lot of people that don't.
I'm
like
sure a lot of
Shakespeare.
high schoolers don't.
Right.
So
Required reading. All of a sudden, Shakespeare's the worst person in the world.
nobody wants to go into YouTube and watch a podcast about
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare. So let's go back to video games.
What if there was a video
Weird.
game about Shakespeare?
It would be an indie title.
There you go.
Side scroller?
No, I think more RPG.
Actually, there is an indie game that just came out that's I think called like Sometimes Always a Monster. Sometimes Always Monsters. It's about a down on his luck writer.
Yeah.
Hey, look at
There
that
you go.
segue.
Alan Wake. That was about a writer, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
So I guess, shut up. Battlefield Hardline is. They announced that they're also going to have a beta for the Xbox One,
But it's a different beta.
but it's a different beta
Yeah.
than what's currently available for PC
People
and
are
PS4.
like I don't
mad at
understand. What
that
does that
game.
mean? Does that mean that it's different levels?
Well, right now on the PC, all you get is one
Different
map
modes.
and two different game types. But yeah, I guess maybe they have a different map offering. I
Different
doubt
map, different
they have
modes.
a different. I don't know. I don't know how many game modes they're introducing. That's part of the reason that so many people are really pissed about Battlefield.
It might be a
Hardline right
different,
now.
like a different milestone build. Like it may also be like more mature code and
Could be, yeah.
like testing out other aspects of the game.
It's. I mean, we've played it a little bit in the Achievement Hunter office. It's actually pretty fun. I like the two new game types. I think a lot of people are really upset because it's sort of got the Left 4 Dead 2 syndrome, where the engine is basically the same as Battlefield 4, and it's just kind of some new updates and new textures. So you could argue that it should have just been DLC. I don't know. When the entire game is basically multiplayer modes in a game, then new multiplayer modes are essentially a new title for that series. I can see the argument really on both sides. It's a hard line to walk for them. I think what a lot of people really don't like, though, is whenever Battlefield releases a new title, all the people stop playing the one that they're currently playing and go to the new one. So if you're like, I can't do anything without playing Battlefield, so I have to buy the new title.
Do you think that will be the case with, well, 4 I guess is a special case because a lot of people will be looking to jump ship from 4 probably, but because this is a cops and robbers, it's very different, it's not military, do you think it will have that same sort of effect? Or will this attract a different type of audience?
I think the real telling point will be if they include kind of a legacy game types in it, because it's a very different gameplay experience in terms of objective than previous Battlefield titles, but at the same time, it feels like Battlefield.
Does it feel like Battlefield with a skin?
It feels like Battlefield with a skin. It's pretty. I mean, it's really pretty on the PC. It's fun to play, but it's not like, oh, I'm playing a totally different game. It's like, it does feel like DLC.
Is that should Visceral take that as a compliment since they jumped in as a new developer and you really don't notice that much of a difference? I mean, that's got to really speak to...
Well, when you say they jumped in as a new developer, I'm assuming they started with the engine. Like, they didn't rebuild it.
Right.
It looks pretty much spot on like Battlefield, Battlefield 4. So, I mean, they came into it and they built new content using that engine, but it's different. I mean, it's not the
So
same
it
game.
feels like DLC.
Is that going to be on their
It feels
box?
like-
It's different. It's not the
It's
same
different.
game.
It's not the same game. We swear. It's called Battlefield, but it's not Battlefield 5 Hardline. It's Battlefield Hardline. I think if they don't have a legacy game type that kind of mirrors the original Battlefield play, there'll still be a lot of people that are going to play Battlefield 4, and then there'll be people that play Hardline. If they include that, then it may draw a lot of the people over to the new game just because that's where more players will be.
Someone on Twitter is asking if you inadvertently dropped a pun by saying it's a hard line to walk.
I did inadvertently drop
Shut
a
up,
pun.
Twitter.
Based Mio, thank you
Based
for
Mio.
the post pun notification.
No, believe me, if I make a bad joke, you'll know. On purpose.
So I guess new NPD results came out, and PS4 for the 5th month in a row is leading hardware sales.
So
No big
nothing's
surprises
changed there,
there.
really.
When did the Connectless one didn't come out till
June
June?
9th.
So maybe if this price drop is going to have any effect, we probably won't see it until next month, or maybe even the month after is NPD results, since it's not even a whole month
Yeah,
with the lower price SKU.
I kind of thought the bigger deal about the NPD numbers was that Wii U sales jumped 85% year on year, even though Mario Kart came out like it was out for 2 days and still managed to boost sales year over year by 85%.
It's easy to go from 1 to 2.
You guys,
I didn't say it, he did. What are
you're
you looking
the
at me for? Look at him.
worst. Both of you, you're such pessimists.
I am excited about some of the stuff. You weren't here last week for the patch, but I was definitely excited. I think Nintendo
He was
surprised,
really nice to Nintendo last week.
surprised me the most, and I was the most excited after watching their digital event. Like, I watched it because I was like, I have to watch this for the patch. This is work for me. And then they showed like the Captain Toad's Adventures thing, the Yoshi's Woolly whatever. I was like, yeah, I want to play these games.
Yeah, we had hands-on time with Splatoon.
Splatoon, yeah.
It was actually really fun, really easy to pick up. I don't know how much longevity it will have, just because I guess it'll depend on if there's a lot more complexity to it than what we played, which you'd hope because it was just a demo. But it was very easy to get into, a lot of fun. You immediately knew what you were supposed to do. Just like look at the ground and try and make all of this your color. And it was very cool because if you could paint up a wall and then go into squid mode where you're swimming in the ink and swim up the wall and then like use that as a shortcut to the next level. It was really cool that way. Also, if you shoot the other squids with your color, they go pop. Yeah.
Squid on squid violence.
Yeah.
Ain't so.
Not from Nintendo.
Paint, it's always been their weakness. We never knew.
It was a lot of fun, easy to pick up. The tilt controls were a little bit weird because you are using the sticks to control, but you're also using, like, you can use the tilt too. So potentially the fact that I was using a combination of the sticks and tilt threw me off a little bit.
Yes. Tilt controls. I remember them from a Let's Play.
Yes.
You guys suck.
Yeah, that's true, but we did sort of rig it by giving you the worst one on purpose.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And I guess more video game journalism news. Joystick announced the other day that they had their 10th anniversary.
Congratulations, Joystick.
Congratulations. I did not realize Rooster Teeth is older than Joystick.
Huh.
Ha, suck it, Joystick.
Yeah, which is, I was like, I saw that. I was like, wow, congratulations.
That turned around quick.
We're older than them, so welcome to the club. Take your lumps. Hope you'll get caught up one day. And I know we only have a couple minutes left here, so I'm just going to...
Should we talk about E3 hands-on stuff?
Oh,
yes.
You should. What
Okay.
was favorite? Start with your favorite. What was your favorite?
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Ashley
Start
has a
with
look of
whatever comes
panic.
to mind.
Okay. Just quick highlights, quick takeaways. So we saw Phantom Pain. Really cool that Mother Base is an actual place. When you kidnap stuff, when you get like soldiers like ballooned out, or actually anything ballooned out, it goes to Mother Base and then becomes one of your resources. We ballooned out a goat, and we went back to the Mother Base. It was there. Same with like jeeps, artillery, all that kind of stuff was a lot of fun. The sort of the open world approach to missions was really, really cool. Moving on. Far Cry, you can ride the elephants, and they take stuff, they like attack dudes with their trunk. That was really cool.
Nice.
Assassin's Creed, the number of people in the crowds was really impressive. And it's also nice to see that they implemented parkour down, so you don't have to just jump off a building. You can descend in style.
Nice.
Or up.
Or up. Can you always go up?
Yeah, you can always go up, but the controls are a little bit more precise now, so that you can determine if you want to parkour at your level, up or down.
Oh, okay.
So whereas before, like, you're running in a direction, just holding the button, and you want to go straight, but instead you end up climbing the wall, and as Bernie says, ending up on the second floor. This way, you'll only navigate up if you're trying to
go
get
up.
upwards. So
Interesting.
that's
Okay.
nice. That's really nice. And the fact that you'll be able to go transition from indoors to outdoors without loading.
Also
That's
great,
really,
yeah.
that's really cool.
1 out of every 4 buildings.
1 out of every 4 buildings is has a modeled interior that you can go through.
I wonder if that was procedurally done or is it actually all hand done? Did they mention it at any point? No?
They didn't say. I imagine there's going to be a lot of repetition. There's a lot of
building 4.
There's a lot of those
building 4.
those developments that are done, by those jerk contractors who just make the same house over and over again.
We have some over there.
It's tract housing in pre-revolution France.
Right? Or actually revolutionary France. Let's see. In Shadow of Mordor, looked awesome.
I've heard good things about it from their E3 showings.
It did. I could definitely see where the Assassin's Creed comparisons come in.
I was surprised that it was not shown off at any of the big pressers.
No, it wasn't. And that kind of surprised me too. But really nothing from Warner was. Batman didn't take the spotlight of anything, even though it looked
They
really,
did have
really
an
good.
appearance. It was in the Sony presser, I think, where they showed the Batmobile and stuff.
By the way,
and the Batmobile was actually they had a big Batmobile on the show floor. It was 15 feet across.
Nice.
I was like, I can see
Looked
why they're building larger streets for the new Batman game, because they're gonna need him to get this.
Does
guy
it take
down
2 parking spaces?
Oh yeah, it probably takes 4. You're gonna be that guy.
By the way,
It's practically Hummer size.
is it just me or are they turning Batman into Iron Man very slowly? I mean, you've seen the newer trailer, right? The whole suit is now just like a mechanical thing, which, to be fair, is kind of cool and makes sense for him still being alive after all this time. And in some future versions of Batman, he's gone over to almost like an entirely droid-based system, like in Kingdom Come.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, doesn't work for you. You don't like the metal bat?
Ashley's
No,
thinking?
moving on.
Okay.
Moving on. Played Evolve, played the new classes against the Kraken, which is the new monster, and they're going to have yet another monster and yet another set of the class variations that I think they'll announce. Well, they will announce it before launch because it's going to be in the game when it comes out. Played very differently, but it was awesome.
They described
we won,
the
but
Kraken
like
as a giant flying magical squid.
It is a giant flying magical squid.
Spaghetti monster?
That is very accurate. It has less health than the Goliath, but it can fly.
Yeah.
So
And
there's that.
it's from what I understand, has ranged attacks because it uses magic from a distance.
Yeah, so what we did to win was get it, it was in a cave and we got it trapped in there so it couldn't get the distance. And just then it never recovered after that. I will say that the medic that I played, Lazarus, totally overpowered.
So Lazarus works by not healing people, but bringing them back from the dead.
Exactly.
Oh.
So I was able to, so you normally have a 2-minute respawn delay, that feels like a really long time. But as the monster, you're trying to get all 4 people dead at once. However, with Lazarus, you can just go in, res those people. You don't have to wait the 2 minutes.
Is there no recharge on that
cloaked.
ability?
There is, but it's a couple of
And
seconds.
you're cloaked.
So I could go
You
in.
can cloak,
I could
yeah.
I could
Okay.
go I could run in cloaked, wait till the monster's not paying attention, res the guy, and then run away.
Okay.
So my job was just be invisible, and then every now and again run in, heal everybody up, and then occasionally resurrect somebody. But
Oh, so you could still heal as well.
yes.
Oh, you could? Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you couldn't.
you run in. It's not like an individual heal. You run in. You do a kind of an area burst heal, and it's probably not as powerful. I didn't play the previous medic, but it's probably less powerful since you can resurrect.
AoE heals.
But
I knew you
our
were gonna
team was
bust out
never
that.
in serious danger at any point.
All right.
Well, maybe it's
we're-
because you were fighting a giant jellyfish.
we're out of time.
Okay.
We gotta cut it.
Wait, really?
So,
Does the
yeah.
redundant sand agree?
Redundant sound degrees. You can see it right there.
Well, we have more of our impressions that that Bernie and I posted up on their individual videos. So if you want to see what we thought a little bit more in depth,
Definitely check
here and
them
there.
out. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back
Thanks, everybody.
Monday with an episode of RT Podcast, and next Wednesday with an episode of The Patch. I'm getting signal that there may
Oh,
be.
and we have a 12-hour live stream on Saturday to promote the Laser Team Indiegogo campaign
That'll be going from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Central Time.
with all your favorite Rooster Teeth personalities,
So make sure to check it out.
except Michael.
Except Michael. Bye.
Bye.